Welcome, everybody, to PinstripeChronicles podcast, your best source for the most entertaining breakdown in Yankee baseball. And I'm Tats, and you're with Rob, Donald, and
What happened to the we're not scripted? Baseball's not scripted.
sports isn't scripted, neither are we. Yeah.
There we go.
So, as we just proved right there.
He comes to me yesterday going, right, I've got this idea for a new introduction, guys, right? I'm going to come up with this thing about this not scripted thing. And I'm like, all right, write it out. And he forgets in day two. He like day two.
Well, it takes a while to remember it all. It looks
He has to script. He has to script the unscripted part.
Exactly. He has to script the unscripted. Only Tats, man. I mean, this is a record at this point. Well, only Tats. We really need really need Rob to step up as a possible new host very soon.
The other thing,
better get yourself warmed up in the arm barn, Rob.
The other thing falling apart is this Yankee offense that was looking so good beginning of the week, is just really starting to settle down. And if it wasn't for the way that the pitching staff's been, we wouldn't be winning these games. And they have to scrape out these wins against the Orioles, and they're doing that. They're going for a sweep this afternoon. And what do you think is what's going to need? Is going back to Yankee Stadium going to be, is that what's going to get the offense refocused? Because you're only seeing a handful of players that are really contributing with good at bats. And then we have some hitters where, say, Hicks and Gallo, that are kind of stuck, in neutral right now and not propelling this team to put in more.
I would say reverse to describe Gallo and Hicks. I think they're driving in reverse right now rather than neutral. I think they're going backwards.
Well, yeah. This is what we're used to seeing from them, so it's not even a surprise. They're just staying still. They're not propelling themselves, along with everybody else.
Can we be fair to Joey Gallo? He's having like a 3-game skid compared to Aaron Hicks, who for the last 2 weeks is hitting 100 and his on base is just about 110 or something. Let's be a little bit fair to Gallo. He was doing just fine, and then it takes one bad game. I told you so. Come on.
Aaron Hicks. To be fair, Rob, I actually defended Gallo in yesterday's episode. I don't know if you watched it.
Thank you. I was only able to catch. I caught your unscripted intro, so I was able to see a good first half of it before I had to go back to the job.
I actually defended him. Tess was like, he's not trying.
I was very rough on his best today.
He is trying. He's just not that type of hitter. He is what he is, man. He always said that he wishes he was DJ LeMahieu, but he's not that type of guy. Then Tat said yesterday, but try. But I was like, how can he try to be someone who he's not? He's not that type of contact hitter. It's just not that. It's not that kind of guy. But he still strikes out like 47% of his at bats. He's by far gonna absolutely eclipse the most strikeouts in the team. He is not someone that you want in your lineup every day. I mean, listen, I think the Yankees need to trade him at the deadline. I don't want him to play out the season and then just released for nothing, because I think he's got a modicum of value. But nor do I want him to be re-signed. I don't think he should be given a new contract. So that's why we're in this kind of predicament. I would look to field some offers for him at the deadline. But for me, the biggest problem is Aaron Hicks. He's taking bad routes to the ball in center field. He seems to have lost a step in the outfield, and that was the one thing that we always heard about Aaron Hicks. Oh, he plays a great center field. Well, he doesn't play a good out center field anymore. Aaron Judge plays a far better center field than Aaron Hicks at the moment. And Aaron Hicks has provided one home run all year, one extra base hit all year. I mean, the guy is just garbage, complete garbage. You're telling me that Florial couldn't do that in a week? So the Yankees really need to get off their obsession with Aaron Hicks. I mean, just move on already. I mean, the fan base despises him for a reason. Move on. Call up Florial. And I guarantee that Florial will have exactly the same stats in 1 week that Aaron Hicks has provided in terms of RBIs and home runs. I mean, it isn't difficult. It is not difficult. I mean, I'm pretty sure that even Tats could pretty much do what Aaron Hicks has done all year to this point, given the same opportunities. So this guy's garbage, but we know this already.
No, the problem is you can't come out before the season starts and go on the RTC2 podcast talking about wanting to be a threat. You want everybody to be afraid of you, but if this is what you're producing at the plate, we're not afraid of you. You know, we could come right at you with our pitches, and you're just going to be another out. You know, you might as well have the pitcher bat.
Exactly.
No, that's what it looks like right now. I mean, his last 15 games and his whole season in general, but specifically his last 2 weeks, he's been brutal. If he's not drawing the occasional walk, he's literally not doing anything. And it's bad because you considering the fact that we always knew catcher was going to be the weak spot in the order. Jose Trevino is out hitting him, so you're looking at Aaron Hicks, you're like, you're the weak link, and you're supposed to be a guy that even if he hits 230, he's going to have some at his best, he's going to be a 250 hitter. That was his best year in 2018. He was like 260, something like that, but he hit home runs, he drew walks, he drove in runs, he was playing good defense, but we're not getting anything remotely close to that. So at some point you have to look at him. If LoCastro was healthy, I don't even think he'd be starting because you're going to lose his speed off the bench in those pinch running situations. Yeah. But how can you not look at what Aaron Hicks is giving you or not giving you and say, let's give Florial a shot? You're still running a short bench right now. So maybe if it wasn't for playing all these games in a small amount of days, we'd probably have that 4-man bench, but we need that extra bullpen arm. So I don't know what they're going to do with Hicks. The smart move would just be cut your losses. I don't know how many years. I think he's got 4 years left on his deal. So maybe they give it the rest of the year, and then they just kind of eat their losses. Same way the Mets did with Cano and say, screw it, you're not producing, we got to get rid of you. But at some point, he either has to start when LeMahieu's out, he's got to be batting ninth. That's it. If he's in the lineup, he's got to be batting ninth. And hopefully he draws the occasional walk because he's not doing anything. And he's a liability. And it's crazy to say that because you never would have thought he'd be like the weak link. But the fact that he's being out hit by the catcher who is known for not hitting is bad. So, yeah. Turn it around, Aaron Hicks, or get Florial. Just get him up here. Why not? The guy's raking in AAA right now. He's killing the ball. What more does he have to do?
Yeah, we're stuck with Hicks until 2026.
Holy moly, Moses, Jesus.
But no, Rob, I think you solved the problem right there. Just pull a Cano and just let him go. Cut your losses. Bring up Florial. We've been screaming about that. We've been waiting for him to come up. He's been waiting for a chance to come up. Everybody wanted, in the beginning it was, well, what is he really going to give you? Well, he's going to give you something better than Hicks. And I think with consistent play time, you're going to see that Florial is he's a ball player. I think he'll do just fine in that outfield. He'll be fine at the plate. He's going to figure it out. But you got to give the guy a chance.
Even if Florial hit 230, he's better than Aaron Hicks.
Yeah.
The 100-point difference, essentially, what we're getting from Aaron Hicks right now over the last 2 weeks. So even if Florial comes up and hits 240, 230, 240 range, even if he hits 2 home runs, guess what? Better slugging percentage than Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks is not doing anything. So you have to make a change there. And I think we're going to see Cashman explore the market for center fielders come deadline. Because right now, when you're winning, I think he should. Even if it's kind of like, I'm praying that the Pirates put Brian Reynolds on the market, but I don't think they will. I just don't know who's out there, but I think he's going to at least do his due diligence. Because if you're looking at the weakness right now, it's center field. You know what Hicks is giving you. I mean, you know what Judge is giving you. You know what Stanton's giving you. We know what Joey Gallo is. He's not a 250 hitter. He's a 210 hitter. His best year, he was like a 209 hitter with a bunch of home runs. You know what you're getting with him. So I don't know why people are surprised that Joey Gallo's striking out a lot. You know what he is. But out of all the 9 guys in the lineup, your center field position is your weakness. And that shouldn't be the case. You should have, all year, should have been catcher is going to be the weak link offensively. And the fact that right now it's Aaron Hicks compared to Trevino, that's bad. Because Trevino, like everyone knows, his thing is he doesn't hit. He just plays really good defense. He's given us great defense, and he's actually got the same amount of home runs as Aaron Hicks does.
No, let's also give credit to Marvin Gonzalez, and the way he's been able to contribute off the bench. He went 1 for 3 yesterday, but he made really good play in right field yesterday. He's not getting Billy any playing time. They really haven't used him consistently in the role to give people rest. So the fact that he's able to come into a game as cold as he is to start and still be a contributor, everybody else needs to, it seems like everybody else is putting the effort in, and Hicks is just kind of like, well, screw you, pay me, and let me work on my golf swing, not my baseball swing, because that's where his priorities are.
Well, that's a golf swing. That's a terrible swing. And it's a shame because he's got a good swing too when he's on. But yesterday, once again, guy on base, what does he do? He tries to hit it 500 feet.
Yeah.
Pop it up. There's 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and Aaron Hicks popping out with runners in scoring position.
That's true. But let's start putting a positive spin on this and really give a lot of credit to the pitching staff and the genius that is Aaron Boone, that he did not put in Chapman to save that, to close that game out. And he went with Holmes, who Donald and I was screaming about. Why didn't they use him yesterday? We were screaming. And then last night, Boone actually listened to the show and said, you know what? I'm going to put in Holmes. And so using Holmes to close that game was I think a statement to Chapman. If you don't figure it out, we're not using you.
Well, they weren't going to pitch him 3 days in a row anyway, so we knew he wasn't pitching.
Yeah.
Just a matter of not going to Chad Green or letting Holmes go 2 innings. And they let Holmes go 2 innings. But the point is, you can go to anybody else out of this bullpen and trust them more in the 9th inning than Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
Here we go.
No, I don't want to go on some sort of rant. I'm going to let you give your spin on this one, but I can't stand Aroldis Chapman.
Well, no, actually, you weren't here yesterday. Obviously, we kind of went to town on Chapman. I've been saying obviously since day one that Chapman can't locate his fastball. The fastball is a problem right now. Every fastball was going 3 feet outside the strike zone. What were you seeing about Chapman?
He's a bad pitcher. I mean, he's what do they say? He's a thrower, not a pitcher, and he's trying to do both. But when you can hit triple digits and just blow people away, but the fact that he can't, when he loses command, I've never seen it get that bad from another pitcher before. Like at least someone that we've had in our bullpen, someone that we should rely on. Like when you talk about our best bullpen arms, Betances wasn't doing that when he was at his best. Andrew Miller, when we had him, he was never like that. And even early on when we had him, Aroldis Chapman was not doing this. But these last 3 years, or even 4 years, but the last 2 years specifically, when he can't find the zone, you know it from the very first pitch that he throws. If that thing goes down that way, okay, he doesn't have it. But now you have to keep the game. You have to let him face 3 batters. And so you're like, I hate this rule, because when Aroldis Chapman comes in, that first batter draws a 4-pitch walk. You're like, well, here we go. And he luckily got out of the game the other night by the skin of our teeth. The fact that our I keep bringing up his contract because it's an abomination of a deal, but our $18 million closer can't throw a clean inning against the Baltimore Orioles.
Yep.
It's a shame. And I really hope that last night showed Aaron Boone, I don't have to use this guy in the 9th inning every time. Let him pitch the 7th if the matchup is better. We don't need to have a designated closer if it's going to cost us wins.
I was shocked that that Boone actually had him pitch to Mullins, because well, actually in that at bat with Mullins, he actually threw a meatball, but Mullins missed it. So go lucky. In fact, he threw two meatballs because he just missed the foul ball, the ball that popped out foul, and we luckily got out of it. That's how we managed to get out of it. But I don't know why he hadn't pitched it. Mullins had gotten him out right way out of that ball game ASAP. But we're going back again. But you can tell within two pitches that whether he has it or not. You can't rely on that. That's just absolutely not a closure that you can have, because it's going to come up bite us in the ass if we continue to peddle this nonsense. At some point during the year, well, it's already cost us one game this year, but if you get in October in tight games when it's a one-run game and you bring Chapman out there, good luck. It's just, you can't rely on that anymore. So I think you got to pass the torch on to Clay Holmes. I would have said Loaizaga, but Loaizaga still kind of figuring things out. Clay Holmes has got this murder sinker that no one can no one can touch. So have him close out games from now on. And I mean, obviously they tried to figure Chapman out by having him come in a situation which was, very easy. It was a 5-run game. They had him come in just to get the last 3 outs, and he still struggled to get the last 3 outs, and he still gave up a run. So how much more evidence do you need that this guy is just not there? But I guess that's a good segue for us to get into Clay Holmes, because he is incredible, man. So obviously the 8th inning he threw just 8 pitches, and 9th inning just 1, 2, 3, no problem.
No, he makes it look so effortless. And him and we talked yesterday about King. The two of them have been that we knew that they were going to be able to be a tangible asset in the bullpen, but the way that they're putting it together this year is just nobody's. I knew they were good. I didn't think they were that good. I wasn't expecting what we're seeing to be this lights out. I think that's a fair way to put it. And if this is how Holmes is going to be pitching right now, and he's locked in, then yes, put him in that closer role. Let him just shut it. Let him shut it down until he can't anymore.
Yeah, all the credit goes to the work he's put in, but Matt Blake's going to get himself a monument at this point, just because of what he's done with guys.
His number.
Yeah. Matt Blake has done great things for Holmes. He's done great things for Peralta. Look at Miguel Castro, how good he's been for us. That's kind of gone unnoticed because his career best was like a 3.45 last year, and now he's got like a barely a 1 ERA for us. So the whole bullpen in general, besides Chapman, has been really good. Mm-hmm. And Clay Holmes.
Holmes ERA right now is 0.44.
Yeah, I said Clay Holmes by mistake. I meant to say Chad Green. He's kind of been up and down as well. Okay. But now Loaizaga is starting to figure it out. His last few outings, he's looked better. Licky is going to be fine. Peralta's good. I mean, we still have Clark Schmidt in there as well, I believe. He's still on the roster, throwing multiple innings. So you have all these options. We don't need a closer. You can go closer by committee. Everything's matchup based now anyway. So if the part of the lineup has a couple of lefties, then I wouldn't mind going to Wandy Peralta potentially in the 9th inning. But because Clay Holmes is such a good ground ball pitcher with that sinker, he should be the guy you look for in those higher leverage situations in the 8th and the 9th inning. So if you have to come up with a combination, Holmes and King, to throw the 8th and 9th, you're going to feel much more comfortable with the 1-run lead with those guys with the last 2-3 innings than you would with Chapman and just 1. And that's a shame to say, because we know when Chapman's on, he's unhittable, but he's too much of a seesaw because his mid-season slump is happening in May. So how long is this go on for? We were expecting this to happen in like June or July. This is the third week of May now that we're getting into, and he's already hit that. Well, he sucks. So hopefully it lasts a few weeks like it usually does, and he gets back to a steady course. But right now, he cannot be used in the 9th inning. Clay Holmes has to be the guy.
No, I like the fact that Boone is not. He's gotten away from. Well, this is their role, and I'm just if that's the role that's needed, that's where I'm going to put them. Where he's kind of changed it up, and we've talked about it and given him credit for is he's using their he refers to as their lane. And nobody is locked into, well, you're the eighth inning pitcher, you're the ninth inning pitcher, you're the he's going he's actually using his brain, not the book. When he's starting to match up and when he's going to use these guys, he's been very good with not overusing anybody. So that's another thing that's keeping him, I think, sharp. But with Chapman, you almost see he can't handle it. He's not, when he starts, if he doesn't throw the first pitch right over the plate, he's done. His first instinct is not, instead of going, all right, my bad, he's going, oh shit. And he never regains he doesn't regain his confidence. I think the reason we're seeing more pitches, in the mid to upper 90s, if he's trying to take some velocity off to work on his, on the command of his fastball and control, then that's fine. I get that. But you can't even, you can't even hit the strike zone when you're taking the velocity off. You're still throwing it all over the place. And that's what's more concerning about anything.
Yeah. Last year he had that splitter that he threw for the first few weeks and he was unhittable, and then he hit that snag like he always does where everything was getting tattooed. Maybe he needs to start throwing a cutter like everybody else on this pitching staff, and maybe that'll get him going. But I don't trust him to be able to get the cutter over the plate. Because with him, it might cut to the other team's dugout. So you don't know what you're getting at him. Every night, he can look like the best closer of all time on one night, and then the next night he'll go back out there and walk the bases loaded, and you're like, who the hell are you?
Where is the guy from yesterday?
Yeah, and you shouldn't be having that. We know that because we've already seen it in a Yankee uniform. A good Aroldis Chapman is basically unhittable. But when he's bad, he's arguably the worst reliever you're going to have in baseball. It's such a weird – there's like no middle ground with him. He's either like really, really good or he's really bad. And even when he's really bad, we've kind of scraped by. We've had other guys come in and save his ass a few times. So, and it's only May, and we've already had to talk about Chapman being the weak link of the bullpen.
Yep.
I was waiting for this to happen in 2 months. It's happening now. It's not a good sign.
Well, it's not a good sign, but it's probably for the best because it means I'd rather this earlier in the year than him to pop his ugly head and then in August, September, when we're in a when we're trying to make sure we win the division and he's blowing games left, right, and center, but they're still trying to peddle him as the closer because the previous few months were okay. It's better having him suck now in order for them to go right now. We can't trust him moving forward. So I'm sure the Yankees are looking at a contingency plans. They have to. I don't think anything's been earned. Contract aside, his contract's done at the end of the year. I can't imagine any scenario where he's brought back. So let's look at the positive. Meredith Murakovich asked Aaron Boone what is making Holmes' sinker play so well, and Boone's reply was, "Have you seen it?" He goes, "It's one of the best pitches in all of baseball." It's nasty. The velocity, the location, and the movement on it, as Boone said, it's one of the best pitches in all of baseball. So, I'm just gonna call it the murder sinker from now on because it's just killing bats, man. It is just killing bats. So, what the Yankees bullpen is doing is incredible. As you say, Matt Blake, Harkey, everyone involved in turning this bullpen and what it is deserves a huge amount of credit, and I'll add Boone into that as well. I'm sure that he has something to do with it as well as the manager. It's really amazing because I mean, Clay Holmes came to the Yankees with a huge ERA. I think it was like high fives into the sixes, and we were panning it. But credit to the Brian Cashman and the front office. They saw that sinker is going to play if they could just tweak a little bit of it, and that's what Blake's done. He's tweaked an element of it, and it's turned him into one of the best, probably the best reliever in all of baseball right now. So, I have to tip my cap there, man, because I was wrong. I thought, God, what was this 6 ERA? What
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh? What's going to happen when he goes to New York? But
we were going,
damn.
What the hell? And then when we started peeling the layers back and we saw the ground ball ratios and all that, we were like, all right, this might work out.
Yeah.
But the best reaction was Tyone. He was like, wait, you were able to get Holmes? It was all he could pitch. And
right, okay.
Look at the numbers, you're going, you're talking about the right guy, right?
Yeah. Well, Pete Simonetti did say that he spoke to people in Pittsburgh that are involved in the organization. They said he's an awesome pitcher, and it's just you got an absolute steal. So they were right. Yeah, it was a steal.
Well, the one thing that we were hoping for, I have for us, and that's today's lineup. And,
nice.
Yep. So
drum roll, please.
Leading off at third base, DJ LeMahieu. Aaron Judge in right. Rizzo at first. Stanton's the DH. Torres at second. Hicks in center. Palefer at shortstop. Higgy's the catcher. And in left field, Marvin Gonzalez.
Nice. No Joey Gallo?
No Gallo.
That's really good news. It's a shame about Aaron Hicks, but
hell is Aaron Hicks doing that high in the lineup?
That's true.
But I mean, Gallo and Donaldson have the off thing.
I mean, I knew that Mario Gonzalez was going to play because Boone already told him he's going to play 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
So according to Michael K, Boone's given them all plenty of notice as to which days they're all playing. So he's keeping everybody on board. It's all about communication.
Yeah,
it's all about communication.
Very much improved this year.
Yeah, and even Boone joked to Michael K that there's some guys that that didn't speak to him for a week because he having to sit them for a day or two here and there because they don't want to sit, but they get it. They bought in, and the whole team's bought in. You can just totally see every single day. You can just tell that they're ready. They're going to the ballpark ready to win, ready to play, and so everyone's bought in. And so I can't speak highly enough of the way Boone's managing right now. So yeah, Marvin Gonzalez played really good right field yesterday.
Yeah.
Made a couple of really good grabs. So, and he's not normally right fielder. So, that was such a good pickup, man. So I'm happy that he's playing left field. I think he does deserve more at bats. I think he's a secret weapon off the bench.
Do you think that leads to in future moves not to be so quick to dismiss or criticize a deal and just wait to see how it gels with a new organization? Or is it still just as much fun as a fan to just be like, oh, this is the worst deal ever?
You should never criticize a minor league contract. It's a minor league contract, and he just happened to have a brilliant spring, and you understood why he made the team. He had a good spring. He plays everywhere except for catcher. You can put him at first if you needed to. You can put him at short, third, second, the entire outfield, maybe not center field because he's older now, but he can play everywhere. It made sense because you needed utility. You needed a utility guy because Tyler Wade was that guy. He's gone. So Marvin Gonzalez, a veteran hitter, switch hitter, he checked all the boxes of things you want off the bench. And even if he doesn't hit, that's fine because you know you're going to get a switch hitter, a good defense when he's out there, and he could get the occasional hit, as he's already shown. He's hit just fine, and he's not playing a ton. He's not an everyday player. For a minor league contract to be paying off the way he has so far, You couldn't have asked for more. It's much like Litke last year. Everyone was like, who the hell is this guy? He hasn't pitched for 5 years. Ended up being our most reliable arm out of the bullpen because he was there from start to finish. So it's a minor league contract. I don't like when people go crazy over those things because sometimes they work out and other times you're just like, well, it wasn't a major league deal. There's no loss here. It was just one of those, you take a risk on an older player. And it's worked out for us the last couple of years for 2 particular guys. It was a fine sign.
But that's the fun of it. We're going to be critical, but I think it's safe to say, just like how we've backed off on the lineups. We're like, oh, okay, so that's the lineup. They haven't given you any reason to believe that, if you sit this guy, you can't sit these 2 guys out on the same day. Oh, it's a throwaway game because they're figuring it out. If they have to, they'll use somebody off the bench. We've been saying that for a while now. The confidence in what this team is doing is building day by day. And their confidence in themselves is the reason why they still haven't, they're still in single-digit losses for the season. They are all in.
I'm loving my mea culpas right now, man. I mean, normally when I see something that's then that usually comes to fruition, but this year seems to be an anomaly. They are just an excellent team, and I'm blown away by just how good they are. So I'm excited by it, man. This is much needed. It's been a number of years since I was really excited by a Yankee team, and to tune in every day and enjoy it. And they are that team. So yeah, I feel really good
tell you,
about
June 25th can't come quick enough. That's going to be one hell of a game.
100%. But every game that they're playing right now, they're giving you something. You can trust that because at the moment, obviously, our bats are scuffling for the large part. It doesn't matter because our bullpen's electric and our starting rotation is solid. I mean, Garrett Cole didn't have his stuff yesterday, but he went 7 innings of 2-run ball. That is amazing. He wasn't even locating his pitches as great as he normally has in the first couple of innings. There was a couple of balls that were pretty loud that went towards the warning track. But guess what? 7 innings of 2-run ball. Every single pitcher in all of baseball would take that every single day. So that is how good we have in an ace, that even when he doesn't have it necessarily, he still gives you 7 innings of 2-run ball. And he gets you a W. So
that was we didn't really even we didn't touch on Cole at all. It was a very weird start for him because I don't think he had his first strikeout in the 4th inning, and then he struck out like 5 in a row. It was just really, it wasn't textbook Cole, but where it was textbook was not giving up a ton of runs, able to navigate a bad lineup, and just really he's been righting the ship for himself, and he's been pitching a lot better. I don't know what adjustments he's made, but it's working.
He's trusting the defense behind him too. Thank God we have Anthony Rizzo.
Well, that's a big key for these pitches: the defense and the catching.
Yeah, you got to trust your guys behind you, and our defense is the best it's ever been since the days of the Jeter, Cano, Teixeira, Rodriguez infield. So you got to trust your infield behind you, and our outfield, any alignment basically you can put out there. Maybe not Aaron Hicks, but most of our alignments are going to get the job done in the outfield as well. So yeah, things are clicking. I'm not worried about the offense. There's a chance they could put 10 on the board today. They put up 25. They put up like 25 in 2 games against Chicago, and then this little skid has started, but it's only been a few games. We've been able to win all but one of them. So let's hope today they get a few runs. They go back home. Let's get another win, another sweep. That'd be great. Another series win, 9 in a row.
And please score for Monty. That's it. That's
Oh, is it Montgomery pitching today? Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe not. We're probably not going to score 10. We'll score.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we'll score 10.
No, they'll score 10 in the 9th when Monty comes out of the game.
Let's get another solid outing from Montgomery and hope the offense at least keeps it close, and then we can put runs on the board for the bullpen because that's the inevitable at this point. The poor guy, The FBI needs to get involved with this. What is going on?
Yeah,
2 years.
something's wrong here. Yeah.
Do you know what we haven't mentioned? Donaldson has a very quiet 24 game on base streak. Obviously he's
Yes.
sitting today, but 24 game on base streak, man. He's really turned it around. He's been a big part of the locker room, playing great defense, and his bat's coming around too, because it was pretty, he was struggling to come out the gate, but lately he's squared up on his pitches, and he's been doing a really good job in the middle of the order.
No, I can't remember the last time we saw like a lazy at bat from him, where he was just, he wasn't locked in. He's putting it together really good at bats. He is seeing the ball well. His outs are more from contact and strikeouts, which is always a good sign. And you're seeing a lot of that. I don't recall seeing like a big strikeout game from this lineup. They're getting a lot of outs from contact more than anything.
Well, they're going to get the strikeouts from Gallo. So if the eight other guys are not going to strike out that much, he's good for maybe 3-4 games. So that's fine. That's fine. I'll take it. If one guy is the strikeout guy, because we know with our lineup we can strike out. But that one game against Chicago, who was it when we scored the first game? Didn't we strike out every at bat for like the first 4 innings, but we still put up like 4 or 5 runs?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was that really weird.
Baseball's weird.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
Donaldson's been killing it.
Donaldson, he's not even had the power swing yet. He's getting a few home runs, but he hasn't even gotten that power swing down yet. Once that starts going, Brian Cashman's ego is going to go even further up than it is right now.
I know, we're really boosting him up lately.
This is weird.
It is, but I like it.
We're not tearing apart Cashman. We're not tearing apart Bone.
I know.
This is nice. I like this.
Sun is shining.
Yeah. Well, not in New York today, but yeah. New York is pretty crappy.
God, what's going on in New York?
Hey, let it rain today and not tomorrow. That's all.
That's a good point.
I don't want any more rainouts. I just want to keep the Yankees momentum just going until it can't go anymore. Because it's just another series that they won. And now they got the White Sox coming back. That now the Sox are coming to the Bronx, and let's win it. We can win that series too. There's no reason why.
Sox again.
But like we said yesterday, at least they don't have their top 2 pitches. So we don't have to worry about that. We just have to worry about their bats. And with the way our pitching has been, it's really not that much of a concern. There's no panic button when you have a strong offense coming in, because our pitching has been able to kind of dismantle them all.
So, Rob, there was some reports yesterday that the Nationals will be willing to discuss trading Juan Soto. What kind of package would you consider?
Well, anything they wanted. If you can get Soto. I mean, as much as I like Dominguez and I consider him an untouchable, if that's what it took, plus others, you're not just going to get him for Dominguez. People are saying, "Oh yeah, I'd give up Dominguez and Volpe. That'll get the job done." No, maybe in a video game. Maybe in a video game it would, but this is a 23-year-old superstar that still has another 2 years of control left, I think, after this season. So yeah, you unload the farm for Juan Soto. If the Yankees were to go get him and put him in this lineup with Judge and Stanton,
my God,
you give up the farm.
Is there a player that you would not like if they say we want, XYZ plus, and then it's like Holmes? Is there a player that has you second guess making a move? Maybe not just saying no, but second guess it.
I mean, if they ask for anybody, it would probably be a starting pitcher, right? Because Washington, they have such a need for starting pitching because everyone of their big guys are hurt.
And we have a ton of starting pitching.
Like if they ask for Severino, does that make you second guess the trade?
I don't think they would, because he's got that option. They wouldn't pick up that option. If they asked for anybody out of our starting staff right now,
I'd say
probably it'd be Cortez. They'd ask for Cortez if we're being honest.
I think they'd probably ask for Clark Schmidt.
No, they're going to want somebody that's dominant right now. They would ask for Cortez.
Well, I mean, Clark Schmidt's been pretty dominant, but out of the bullpen. So I mean, if they ask for Cortez,
a top pitching prospect, they'd want a top pitching prospect. They want a top outfield prospect at minimum. Now, Gallo, by the time the trade deadline comes along, we'd only owe him $3 million or a team would only owe him $3 million for the rest of that year. Do you think we could add him to the package?
I doubt it. If anything, you're going to move Gallo to get a couple of other pieces. If, let's say, for the sake of argument, they do get Soto, there's no need for Gallo, so you move Gallo for a similar package to what you got for Voit. Just get a couple of prospects and unload the contract. But I don't think Washington would actually ask for any major league talent. If it did, it would be from a starting pitcher we have right now. It would be probably Cortez or Montgomery because they have control after this year.
I'd be willing to give up Montgomery, no problem.
Yeah, I don't think you give up Cortez though.
I mean, I love Montgomery, but I if they ask for him, I'll still root for him in Washington. You know,
it would actually do us a favor because then it gives us an opportunity to have Clark Schmidt pitch every 5 days because I think he's very close to being ready to being a major league starter. I still think that they probably prefer to ask for Schmidt rather than Montgomery because the upside. Montgomery doesn't have the upside that Schmidt has.
It more than likely be a whole prospect. It'd be a whole prospect thing. But I'd give
and the Waldachuk maybe. There's a bunch of other. Obviously, we'll have a million shortstops. They'd probably ask for a couple. I mean, obviously, because we're all in on Volpe. I guess that's the one guy that we wouldn't consider trading.
Well, I don't know if that's the case. I think it would be, Volpe. I think that would have to be like a last resort. Like if that's the only way a deal was getting done, I think Cashman would break on that, and put him in. But I don't think that's gonna. There would be back and forth between Volpe with center anywhere else. A lot of back and forth.
Even if Brian Cashman said you can have one of them, if you're getting all these other guys, like let's say it's Luis Heel, Waldachuk, a bunch of other pitchers, Dominguez, maybe even Pereira, then you're going to get Peraza or Volpe because you're probably not going to get both in one trade. There's no way Cashman's giving up both of them. Even if he had to, and if you're able to get Soto for 2 years and re-sign him and you have the money to do so and keep Judge on board for the rest of his career, you're perfectly fine with a guy like Connor Falefa at shortstop for the next 4 or 5 years if you want to re-sign him, or just keep going, stop, short-term deals for shortstops for defense. Because if you have Soto in this lineup with Judge and Stanton for the next 5 years at least, you're getting plenty of offense from those 3 guys alone. So you're not going to have to worry about shortstop.
That's 100% fact. Soto also has team control for another 2 years. To be honest, there's not really anyone that should be off limits to get Soto prospect wise. It means that our outfield is just incredible. It'd be the greatest outfield in the world. Oh, it'd be so good. I would love that. I mean, Buster only did say that. It's his tweet. He said that there's rival executives that believe that they may be compelled to trade him off by the deadline. So we will see. I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised if the Nationals then, go against that, and then maybe the next day or two say, "Oh, there's no truth in those rumors." I wouldn't be surprised at all. But there's no smoke without fire. So watch this space. That would be fun. Although there'll be a bunch of other teams that would want them.
Every team in baseball, they're
exactly
not like all the contending teams. Pittsburgh's not going to go for him, but who would go for him and then pay him the very same hour? The Mets. So you have to look out for them too. If he becomes available, Washington should move him because they're not going to pay him. They're rebuilding.
Yeah.
And I mean, what did he turn down? Like, didn't he turn down like $350 million or something like that?
Around that. It was,
You're looking at he could be $500 million player.
That's a great point. I don't think the Yankees make that deal because they're going to have to pay Aaron Judge $300 and something million, and they'll probably have to pay him in June, July. That probably takes us out of the running for Juan Soto.
I don't think they'd even go after him, to be perfectly honest. And
I don't think so.
no,
it's fantasy baseball. It is fantasy baseball because that was a great point right there. I just realized, got Hal Steinbrenner. There's only room for one $300 million player. Yeah, that
you got to pay those bondsmen.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to pay Aaron Judge a lot of money because he's the best player in baseball right now, even above Soto at the moment.
Judge is going to command. Forget it. It's going to be insane the money he's going to command at this.
And he deserves it. Trusted himself. He trusted himself, and it's paid off already. So, pay the man.
Well, I was going to wrap things up for us today. Just remember, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on social medias in the description. Check us out also on sportname.com/player. Northeast Streaming Sports on Roku. Wear your pinstripes with pride and play hard. And score.
Hey, he aced the close. He aced the close.